Konnichiwa, everybody. It's Rhino, and I am here at EPCOT in the Japan Pavilion today because we're doing a Disney dining review here. And joining me are Craig Williams, Erica Resnick, and we are going into the brand new Shiki-Sai restaurant. Yeah, I had to write it down so I could see it because I can't say it unless I see it. And I don't even think I said it right. But anyway, this and everything that we do here is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts helping you plan the perfect Disney vacation. When you book with them, it costs you nothing extra on your trip, and you help support the channel and all the content that we produce here. So check them out, dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. I'm going to apologize at the top of this video for the pronunciation of any words that we say. We're doing our best. We're asking our phones. We're asking everybody how to pronounce the words. I just don't have the linguistic skills to do it appropriately. I mean, no offense. But now that I've kind of got that out of the way, why don't we dive in and see what this place is all about? We have learned quite a bit from whence we last saw each other just moments ago, but we are here inside of Shiki-Sai now. We talked to the server and the hostess, who both kind of filled us in on the story of the restaurant without even us asking. So we've learned that Shiki-Sai actually means Festival of the Four Seasons, and it's an Izakaya traditional type of restaurant, which is like a gastropub where friends and family come together to share the joy of one another's company, as well as a variety of dishes. Yes, I'm reading from a script here in the menu. For an authentic Izakaya experience, select an assortment of delicacies, all crafted with the finest ingredients, reflecting the flavors of each season. Our server let us know that as we, whatever we ordered, whether it be appetizers from the grill, we've got rice and noodle, donburi, sushi assortments, whatever we ordered. The thing with Izakaya is that it comes out as it's ready, so it'll just be kind of brought to the table. You're not waiting for like the traditional courses one by one. So this is quite an interesting menu with a lot of variety on here, so we're gonna dive in and take a look at some of this.
This is very awkward, but unfortunately, yesterday while we were sitting at our table, the microphone was not turned on when I spent nearly 7 minutes explaining this entire menu. So Rhino and I decided to come back here to EPCOT today so we could go over the menu just to be as thorough as possible with it. And it's a big menu. It's a little bit daunting at first when you look at it because there are pages and pages and pages and pages, and upon first inspection, it looks like they're trying to rival the Cheesecake Factory in terms of the menu size. But you know what? It's all important. So let's go through it here. It starts off on the main page explaining the restaurant as well as explaining the current summer festival that we're in. But we'll talk more about that at the end of the meal. And again, I know this because, well, we already did it yesterday. So we'll go over that later. But moving on to the first page of the menu, it starts with some of the rolls that you can get here at the restaurant. You know, you got stuff like a dragon roll, the Tokyo Negi roll, the Golden Philadelphia roll, the spicy crunch roll. I'm really struggling to read upside down, so this was a terrible decision, but we're gonna make the best of it anyways. From there, we move on to chef specialties, and this includes the giant $300 sushi boat that we ultimately will not be getting during this meal, but we do get the bridge, which is also a bunch of sushi for $100. Then you have 2 other sushi platters on this page as part of the chef specials. Moving on to the starters, I mean, you have a bunch of stuff on here. You have miso soup, you have the karaage chicken, you have Japanese potato salad, and I promise we are just trashy enough that we would order it, but ultimately we don't order this one. We decided against it. However, I do want to come back here and get it because I need to know what $8 potato salad tastes like. It's got to be the best in the world. What else do we have on here? Fish tempura, rock shrimp tempura. We've got clams. Just a whole lot to choose from. Edamame, which we slept on the edamame. I saw it being delivered to a table. It looked fantastic. Moving over to the classics, I wish we had money for the steak, but unfortunately we just don't. So we weren't on the $120 budget. Honestly though, we did spend $100 on sushi, but I felt like that went a lot further than 4 ounces of A5. But there are other options if you still want to get that Wagyu gyoza. I said that very weirdly because Rhino is totally in my head about how to pronounce everything, and I didn't sleep last night because of it, but that's okay. There's that as an option. We've got eggplant. We've got vegetable tempura, which I feel like this is still kind of like, this is all part of the appetizer portion. Just the classics is where you're going in with the steak and maybe this chicken dish. You've got tuna down there, seared tuna. You've got this tomato that they have somehow skinned. I'm not sure how you skin a tomato. I guess you just do it very delicately. You blanch it. So Rhino's saying you blanch it and the skin will just fall off. That makes sense. Personally, I'm more of a Dorothy than anyone else. That's a Golden Girls joke. So, and Rhino correctly gay-trapped me on that one. From the grill, we have an assortment of skewers. We have Japanese pancakes. We have beef yaki udon. We have a beef omelet down there, which, maybe I'll think about a beef omelet. Spoiler alert, I don't. We have the kids menu here. So you have a little sushi set. You have a kids bento box. Very, very cute. Over here on the rice and noodles, we have even more udon happening. We've got some rice bowls. I'm just literally repeating what this is. It's the rice and noodles section. But it's there and available, and I don't know how to pronounce 90% of it, especially when I'm reading it from upside down. Awkwardly enough, the desserts are just plopped here right in the middle of this page. Whoever did the graphic design for this was just all over the place, but you have an ice cream parfait, a soft serve ice cream, which I believe they said the flavors were vanilla and matcha, if I can remember correctly. Mango mousse cake and yuzu cheesecake. Yuzu. Boom, nailed it. Then moving on, we have the sushi and sashimi page, and this just shows off more of the different combinations of rolls that you can get. This matsu one, that looks good. Maybe we should have got that one. Nah, I'm happy with our bridge choice. You'll find that out later. But then, of course, you can see all of the nigiri choices that you could have here. I did not look at this at all, and I wish I would have saw right down there at the bottom the uni, which is, of course, sea urchin. It is delicious. I probably would have never tried it, except one day Corey Martin made me have it, and I was not disappointed with it. And it's a shame he's not here with us at this meal, since he technically is our sushi expert here at the DIS. Of course, more rolls that you have over here, more of the classic rolls, I would say, with like the spicy tuna roll, the shrimp tempura roll. These are more basic rolls, in my opinion. Up here, you have the donburi, which you have rice bowls here. This spicy tuna don just looks fantastic. All of that spicy tuna layered on top of rice. How good. And then eel on rice. Eel. Spoiler alert for this meal. There's a lot of eel involved. And as soon as I started talking to my dining compatriots about the eels, which what are they? And are they urchins or eels? And what are then Little Mermaid? They're eels. Yeah. Are they eels? They're electric eels. Yeah. Once I started talking about that, they kind of got grossed out. So it happens. Anyways, next on the menu we have signature sake, served either by the 3-ounce glass or in 8-ounce carafes. And if you can't make a decision with that, maybe the sake flight at the bottom would be more your speed, where you can get some different varieties of sake altogether in the flight portion. You have canned sake, and the one that jumped out to me first was this Perfect Snow, because I'm like, do they take snow from the mountains of Japan and put it inside a can and serve it with sake? I don't know. I doubt that's what it is, but in my heart, I will always believe it. Here, over on the next side, you have the shochu, which is It's, I believe, weird drinks. Like this one is a sweet potato shochu, and I just don't have enough experience with it, but I do have experiences with putting popsicles in drinks. And honestly, of all the places I've ever put a popsicle, inside a drink has to be in second place. Number one would be in my mouth, of course, because that's where you normally put a popsicle. Then we have Japanese craft spirits up here. You've got your Japanese whiskeys, gin, vodka. Very, very interesting. You have beer selections, Kirin, Sapporo, and then it says local craft draft beer. And I can see from the makeshift bar that's right behind Rhino right now, it is definitely Crooked Can. I'm just not sure what the variety is of it. So maybe we'll check that out here in a second. Then we have for wines, we have a nice selection here, Pinot Grigios. All the wines seem to be from California, Italy, New Zealand, Oregon. So there you go. But for wine lovers, maybe you want that. And then rounding things out, we have the specialty cocktails, Violet Sake, Mount Fuji, Tokyo Sunset, Sake Sangria. You have Summer's End, the Toki Highball, and then non-alcoholic specialties, Violet Yuzu Lemonade, Okinawa Wave, and I am struggling to read everything else upside down. So that is it for our look at the menu and what I describe as a section of watch Craig struggle to read everything from upside down. He didn't do a good job at it, but I promise you we will do slightly better for the rest of this meal. It is a Crooked Can green tea rice lager. Now, let's go eat.
For my starter, I went with the Karage chicken for $12. That's a Japanese-style fried chicken flavored with garlic and ginger, served with lemon. This came with a good amount of chicken, enough that we each got a couple of pieces out of it, and it was like perfectly cooked. It was one of those where like the like fried chicken, like the crust of it wasn't too thick, and every piece of chicken was like perfect. It was like the right temperature. It's so good. This is an item that I'll always order whenever it's on any menu, so I'm super happy with it here, and I know that everybody at the table really enjoyed it, so I think we'd all recommend that one for sure.
I started with the Agedashi tofu. It is $14. It is deep fried tofu with some mushrooms and a flavored broth. And you know what? It was all right. The broth definitely is where all the flavor hides in this. And I kind of wish that the tofu was just a little bit crispier because the inside was just a little like too mushy for my type of tofu. But I did think it was a good way to start. Not sure I would like get this again, but it's nice to know that there is an option like this because a lot of the other stuff has beef in it or like salmon. So if you're looking for something that doesn't have any meat that's part of like the classics and starters, this is a really good option to have. Something which is missing from it. And I think it's because I wish like it has a little kick to it and I wish it was just a little bit spicier, but that's fine. But overall, I think it was okay. Would I get it again? I'm not sure unless I was in the mood for tofu. But it was a good option to have on the menu.
I started my meal with the grilled Wagyu gyoza for $20, 3 pieces, pan-fried dumplings filled with smoky A5 Japanese beef, and oh, it was filled with beef. Those dumplings, they were a little crisp on the outside, but then it made way for that great hamburger texture on the inside. It was savory. It had a slight hint of sweetness to it. It was much more affordable than the $120 4-ounce steak that's available. I would get this again, and it satisfied me. It made me ready to eat the massive amount of food that was yet to come with this meal.
I also ordered an item from the rice and noodles section, and I went with the Ishiyaki Sukiyaki rice, which is $28. That is grilled strips of beef in a hot stone bowl, cooked tableside, along with spinach and rice and a sweet garlic sauce. I love anytime anything is served in a stone bowl tableside, I always go for it. So I definitely I had to do this. It was okay. I thought the rice was good, the beef was there. It didn't really have a lot going on for it. We shared this one too. It was very nice. They gave us little bowls with wooden spoons. That was cool. But it felt a little, like a little plain for me. Not that I didn't like it. I wouldn't say it would be a bad choice. It was just in a menu full of so many exciting things. I feel like I picked something that ended up coming out just a little safe. So I'm not saying I don't recommend it. I'm just saying that I think maybe if you're an adventurous person, maybe look elsewhere.
It's about time that I tell you everything that we had on our bridge full of sushi, and I just need to let you know that this description of the sushi is brought to you by the Toki Highball cocktail. It's a little bit bitter. It's a little refreshing with that hint of soda. It is $18. Are you serious? This was $18?
Yeah,
Are you
that's why I
kidding?
was shocked you ordered that.
Toki Highball, $18. Suntory Toki whiskey, soda, yuzu juice. Yeah, that's expensive. I'd get it again. Anyways, the bridge. What all was on there? It had 6 tuna rolls. It had 3 pieces of tuna, 3 pieces of yellowtail. It had 3 pieces of salmon. It had 6 cucumber rolls. It had 2 scallop sashimis, 2 octopus sashimis, 2 salmon sashimi, 2 tuna sashimi, 2 shrimp sashimi, and 1 very long piece of eel served sashimi with some cucumbers and other accoutrements on there. And wow, a lot. And you know what? I do feel like you got $100 worth of fish on here. I know other people at the table are going to talk about some of their favorites with it, talk about some of the misses. What I will say for myself, I don't like a lot of raw fish with rice. I want to taste the fish, so I don't add spicy mayo or anything to it. I just want to know if it's quality there. And the salmon was literally melting in my mouth. It was so good. The tuna was it was super high quality, really flavorful. The yellowtail, just again, they knocked it out of the park with the pieces of fish that they placed on our little bridge. In terms of the octopus, yeah, it's a little chewy, but I still love octopus. I usually like it grilled though. The eel, by the time we got to the bridge, I was kind of eeled out. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But I could only have a small little bit of the eel, but man, they know how to serve eel here. It's like, the eel, it kind of like has a chicken taste to it, but at the same time, it's like a very flaky fish, like a tilapia that was cooked so long and it's just flaking apart. But I mean, it's a terrible description of it, but I ate way too much. I wish I wouldn't have ate the tuna rolls and the cucumber rolls, because ultimately those almost felt like palate cleansers between the other fish. But yeah, I definitely would order this again for myself, and I probably wouldn't share it with anyone else. I'd be full. There's a lot of rice on here, but yeah, I dug it.
So speaking about the Hashi Bridge, which again, just to reiterate, it says serves 2 to 4 people. I am somebody who one could describe as a big boy, and this big boy eats sushi when he sits down, probably the serving size of like at least 2 people. So I love sushi. I will literally eat it till I feel like I can't move. I'm just one of those people. And this was my first experience actually getting like a big, like one of these, like the boats, the bridge, the whatever, however it's served, but the large collection of stuff. And the ingredients on it were all very fresh and everything. But for me, it's like it wasn't overly exciting. It just felt like I'm not somebody who goes and just orders like a spicy tuna roll usually. Like I'm somebody who I like to kind of get into a little bit more of the unique rolls. I know Craig tried to make fun of me, but I won't order a roll that has cream cheese in it usually. I'm not one of those people, and it's okay if you are. I'm not judging you. But, guilty as charged. I love a good volcano roll. Usually if there's just the kind that you find at any like sushi restaurant that they slap a fancy name on the roll and add a million ingredients in it sometimes. I like those sort of things. But this was nice too because it was everything, like we said, was very fresh. So it was light. It was enjoyable. It was nice to be able to take your time with it. I really enjoyed the cut of tuna that was on here quite a bit. again, I know I just said it, but the tuna roll that was on here was pretty decent. I really enjoyed that. The spicy tuna, again, was an upcharge, and I do feel like for like being $1 extra, it was a wisp of spicy mayo, not spicy tuna. I'm sorry. It was just like a wisp of spicy mayo, so I feel like I could have been like, could I have a little bit more? Because I'm a trash person. But it was all very classy. Ours, I feel like, looked a little bit different than the photograph on the menu here, and I know that obviously changes based on what's available, I think, or what's there for the day, but. So if you're eating this with 4 people, you got to think that's $25 each. Should I eat $25 worth of sushi off of this thing? Probably. And I would say that the fish was a decent quality of fish. And I tried in here things that I haven't had as sushi before, like, what's the fish that I was saying, the New England? I had the octopus, fine, whatever. Sometimes I go back and forth on the squid, like octopus, stuff like that. Like, sometimes I really enjoy it, other times I'm like, why? And the scallop that was on here, I feel like I'm so used to being, because of where I'm from in Massachusetts, scallops, whatever, they were always like bacon wrapped scallops. That's like a cookout staple. And I know there's like cooked, fried, however you make them, grill them, whatever you do to them. So I'm used to eating scallops like when they're cooked that specific way. So eating it like over rice in a sashimi style was like sucking on a human tongue, and not in the way I wanted it to be. So that's that. The shrimp, on the other hand, too, which was my first time having like a giant prawn like version of that on there. That was, I honestly, I didn't hate that. Like, Craig made a comment about cocktail sauce though, and all I could think about was like, cocktail sauce would be real good on this, wouldn't it? I'm becoming my sister. My sister orders cocktail sauce with steak. Yeah, you heard me. I was embarrassed when it happened too.
From the portion of the menu that's labeled from the girl, I got the vegetable okonomiyaki, which is $25, and it's a veggie-filled Japanese pancake, essentially, and it's served with like savory sauces on the top. There is another option that is filled with bacon, so if you want to have something that has meat in it, you can get the other version, but that one is $28, and this I really enjoyed. Like, I would come back for this in a heartbeat. I absolutely loved it. There were some mixed reviews at the table, but I really enjoyed it. I thought like the savoriness of it was just so good, and the topping has some ginger on it, and overall, like, I think the dish was very cohesive and very, very yummy, and I loved it. It was my favorite thing that I had from something that wasn't sushi based, and it's like a pretty big serving. Like, I wasn't expecting to get that much, but it was huge, and it comes very nice and warm, so be careful. The plate that is served in is very hot when you grab it. And I also want to touch on the sushi, some of the sushi that I liked from our little bridge. I love tuna rolls, so there was tuna rolls on here. There was also some cucumber rolls that were really good. I pretty much enjoyed everything except the scallops. There was a scallops situation, and I was not a fan of the texture. We did order spicy mayonnaise on the side. That is an extra charge for $1 if you want to have spicy mayonnaise. But overall, I think the fish on the bridge that we got was all very fresh. And of course, there was ginger and wasabi on there. And I think you get a good variety of sushi on here. So if you love sushi, that's a great thing to order if you're going to have a group between 2 to 4 people. I really enjoyed that one. I thought that was a great option to have on the menu. But those were the things that I had, and I'll let someone else talk now.
Finally, for me, besides dessert, I ordered the unagi don off the donburi part of the menu, and this was $20. Grilled freshwater eels served over tamagoyaki on a bed of steamed rice drizzled with a savory sauce. I apologize to everyone out there who is fluent in Japanese. I mean, I apologize for all of this. I listened. So the hard part with this review is you feel like you know words. You feel like Wagyu has become such a word that is throughout our culture everywhere. And then you listen to a pronunciation 19 times on your phone so you don't sound like an idiot. And then somehow you still find a way to sound like an idiot. So apologies again. It's not a disrespect to the culture. It's apparently I don't know how to take what goes in my ears and register it out through my mouth here. But for the unagi don, a lot of eel, a nice portion of eel, and I liked that this actually, it felt like this had a sear on it, so it was, in my opinion, it was even more flavorful than what we had when it was on the bridge of sushi, and then served with the rice. The savory sauce added a lot of savoriness to it, believe it or not. I don't think I would actually get this again though, because I feel like I would probably I'd rather try like the spicy tuna, or if I knew I was getting eel as part of a sushi platter, I would just have it for that. But the picture in the menu sold me, and I went for it. I'm not disappointed, but I also don't ever need to have this again. It's not going to be something I'm craving in the middle of the night. No, that's just Doritos.
For dessert, I went with the yuzu cheesecake, which is $10. It's described as a creamy delight with a hint of tangy citrus zest. I would say it's a little more than a hint, because it's a tiniest little cheesecake, which honestly is actually pretty good. Because sometimes you order a cheesecake and you get like that big full slice, and I'm always like, I can't eat this whole piece of cheesecake. So I liked the size of it. I feel like it could have been just like slightly bigger, but yuzu is like a very tart. Like you got to think like lemon, like that's your realm of flavor. But I'm a fan of yuzu. I was a fan of this. It was tart. It's nice. Honestly, on a hot day, it was pretty refreshing. So I enjoyed it. I'm happy with my choice for that one.
Wrapping up the meal portion for me, dessert, I had the mango mousse cake. It was mango mousse finished with a sweet mango glaze for $10. This was incredible. I am a mango fan. Like the other day, Rhino and I were at Universal, and it was really hot. I didn't drink enough water, so I went straight to Trader Joe's and I bought a platter of mango, and I ate that on the car ride home, because something about mango, it feels like it hydrates me. It's something about that flavor. It's the right amount of sweetness, and this was that. The cake was absolutely it just absolutely was perfect. It had a hint of moistness to it. It had a hint of dryness at the same time. I don't know if that makes sense, but it was both dry and moist in the right ways. It had that little hint of sweetness from the mango, but then it would pop once you got the mango glaze. I feel like this dessert for $10, like you could share this and you would still feel like you each got a good portion, but I'm going to be dreaming about this cake for quite a bit, just like my Toki highball.
We are now entering the part of the video where we do our ratings, but before I get into that, I do want to talk about the karaage chicken that Rhino had. It was one of my favorite things at the table. I thought that it was just so good. I can't really describe every flavor in that, but it was just really great. Like I would come here for that and to grab a drink and just look out at World Showcase all day if I could. Anyway, let's get into the ratings here. For ambiance, I gave the restaurant an 8. I love the draping that's coming from the ceilings, and we got sat in the room where you can look out into World Showcase, and it's just such a beautiful view from here, so I had to give it an 8. The presentation and preparation of all the food, I'm going to give a 10, because I think everything looked so beautiful when I came out of the kitchen. It was like the most beautifully plated food I've seen in a very long time. Quality and taste, I'm giving it a 9, but that's because I might be just a trash person that wanted more spicy mayonnaise and like more crunchiness to certain things. But I feel like if I would have gotten more spicy mayonnaise, maybe this would be a 10. But everything really was so fresh and it was very flavorful. I love spicy mayonnaise, okay? Service, I'm giving it a 10. Our service here has been amazing. Every cast member we've come in contact with has just been absolutely phenomenal. So I have to give that 10. My lowest score is going to be the cost. I have it at a 6. Everything here is very pricey. So if I came here on my own, I would pick and choose, like slim pickings, probably like 2 things off the menu to eat, but maybe even 1. But the prices here are very up there, but it has to do with the quality of the food. The quality is really great, so obviously the pricing is going to be up there, but for me, it's just like it crosses the line of like really expensive, just for me, in my opinion. But overall, that brings me to a score of 43 points.
Okay, before I get to my numbering of everything, I just want to bring up a couple of things that I also thought were pretty, I enjoyed quite a bit. Like, I already know the karage is something where I'd be like, heartbeat, order that. The Wagyu sliders, I definitely think were very good as well, however they're pronounced, and those were enjoyable. I did not care for Erica's pancake. I'm glad that she ordered it. I would have liked the one filled with the bacon, I think, but her pancake just had a lot of... it was something similar if it wasn't like an eel sauce. It was a very thick sort of sweet sauce on top of it. And Mama doesn't like the thick sweet sauces, okay? So that's just me, but that's just flavor profile. Again, Craig will keep making fun of us. You can't have enough spicy mayo. And we said, I think the thing wrong with us is we all just love spicy food so much. But no, I would definitely try another one of those because there were multiple types of that pancake on there. And yeah, I would get the Japanese potato salad next time too. I would. So you know what I'm going to say about this place? There's other things I'd like to try in it, which I think is a pretty good saying something about it. So for ambiance, I'm giving it a 7.5. I don't not like the space. I do enjoy the space. I'd only been in here like maybe once or twice before. And it's pretty much the exact same space, I feel like. It wasn't super recent, so I could be wrong, but it does seem like the space, when it's full, it's going to end up getting very loud because it'll get very echoey because there's a lot of like wooden fixtures in here. So it could end up being one of those places. I like it. Erica's right. You can't beat the view outside of this, especially if you're timing this right and you're watching whatever the nighttime show may be at Epcot, or even just with the lights on Spaceship Earth would be really nice. But I will say it's pretty good. So I'm giving that a 7.5. It's not a bad score. It's a good score. Food preparation and presentation, I give it a 9 for sure. There was some gorgeous, everything that came out I thought looked like very, very pretty. And I didn't really have anything that I had where I was like, that was gross or anything like that. But that brings me to quality of taste. I have it at like a 7.5. I am a big fan of Asian cuisine and things like that, and I love trying new stuff. But there is a place that is not far from here. 2 different locations. They're owned by the same person. They're both called Susaru. One is Susaru, and that is right outside of the parks, and the other one is called Juju by Susaru, and that one is located in the Winter Park area of Orlando. But I believe they might be have nominated for a Michelin star or Michelin recommended or something like that. But they do a lot of sort of Japanese inspired food and things like that. And there's a lot of items on there that kind of reminded me a lot of the stuff that we ordered today. And so I feel like I got a little bit better versions there. That's not to say the food wasn't great here, because I really didn't have anything I didn't like. But the karage chicken, can't go wrong with that. So 7.5, service 10, no question. Our server, which was Kaorie, I wanted to ask her how you pronounce it. I don't know if it's just Kaori, but phenomenal. But everybody we've talked to, the manager that was here, who came over to check on Erica's allergy, the hostess who sat, and then everybody was just excellent. So a 10. Cost, I definitely give it a 6 as well. Some of the stuff here, specifically the drinks as well, which are all between 18 to 20 something. It's definitely leaning into that more expensive side of things. So this is not an inexpensive place to eat, and I know we bring that up a lot, but I'm cheap. I'm sorry, and I know we pay for expensive things when we want expensive things, but so I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. So for me, it's a 40 out of 50, which is a 4 out of 5, which is an 8 out of 10, which is a good score. So everybody, back off and leave me alone. It was good.
If you're asking me, did I ride that Rhino chicken train? You're right, I did. And I don't regret it at all. That was excellent. I'll be honest, I stayed away mostly from everything that Erica had, not because I am afraid of her germs, but I just wasn't interested in any of the things that she chose. So I didn't want to try it. I didn't want to. and I stand by that. I'm okay with it. Okay, though, let's start off with my review in numbers. Ambiance. I'm giving this an 8 out of 10, and I think part of the reason why I'm going to speak even more highly of this restaurant in terms of the ambiance than the others is because I spent a little bit of time in the main dining room section. As they have mentioned, we are sitting in front of the windows, in front of World Showcase, a beautiful view if that's what you want. I wish we were in the other room because it's incredible. There's an open kitchen where everything is happening, and I am a sucker for an open kitchen. If I can watch my entire meal being prepared, that's where I want to be. I want to see the sushi being rolled. I want to see the sushi being cut. I want to watch everything being cooked. I am that obnoxious person that pretends that if I can watch it happening, then I can replicate it at home, and I can't, but I still pretend that I can. And so if there's ever a chef's table, open kitchen, I just want to be as close to that as possible so I can watch it all. And then there's also these beautiful screens that are in and around the restaurant where it's kind of doing like peaceful Japanese gardens, and you see like the cherry blossoms, and it's like, it feels like you're in a different world in there versus the world out here with the World Showcase. So 8 out of 10 for ambiance. Food prep and presentation, this is a 10 out of 10. It could not go any other way. It is just a masterful work of art here. Every single thing that was brought to our table felt like it had finesse. It felt like everything they did with it was purposeful. Just wonderful. I mean, they served food here at the signature level, even if that's not necessarily even if this isn't going to be held on the same regard as a California Grill or a Yachtsman or any of the other signature restaurants here. This absolutely should be thought of in that way. That being said, with quality and taste, I'm going to give it an 8 because the things I had that I loved, there was 10 out of 10s. Then there's just a couple things like, my Dawn that I just, it was fine, but also I'm not going to run back to it. So I'm just knocking a couple points off, but the quality was there. Taste just didn't always hit home for me. Service, 10 out of 10. Arguably the best service that you'll find in all of EPCOT. I'll say that 4 times over. I'm not going to. And then for cost, I'm going to give that... I had 7 written down, but I think I'm going to be a wild card here. I'm giving it an 8 because even though it is expensive, again, it's already what I said. This is a signature experience, at least for me, and I know I could go and get sushi from a $9.99 all-you-can-eat restaurant off of $5.35, but it's not the same thing at all. Even some of my favorite Japanese places and sushi places outside of Disney property, the quality isn't always there. I still like it, and it's cheaper and fits my budget more, but I would save up for this place and come back again and have the meal I want. I mean, eventually I want to go downstairs to Kumite. Now that I am done with my number scale, I believe that takes me to a 44 out of 50. And since some people did not care for the fact that we were doing full-blown numbers and wanted us to break it down, that would take me to an 8.8 out of 10, or, believe it or not, a 4.4 out of 10. Who knew that 44 could divide down into 4.4? What a world we live in. Erica, I believe that would make yours a 4.3 out of 5?
Yeah.
Did I say 4.4 out of 10?
Yeah, you did.
I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
It's been a long meal.
I'm
Listen, I'm being a goofball here. So, but, this guy was expensive. And we'll get to the number in just one more second here. Trying to wrap up because there's a hurricane coming our way. It's not going to hit us, but it's still on the way here. But we're in the summer season here at the restaurant, and that means that the Tanabata Festival is happening. Sorry for butchering that. In Japan, people celebrate Tanabata by making decorations, attending parades, eating noodles, making wishes. Heartfelt wishes are written on colorful paper strips like this, and hung on bamboo branches, brightening homes and adding a festive air to city streets, train stations, and other public spaces. Tanabata celebrates the story of 2 celestial lovers who are separated by the Milky Way. They are allowed to meet once a year on the 7th day of the 7th lunar month during the Tanabata Festival. And we are joining in by writing our own wishes. And no, I did not learn Japanese. I know you might think that I learned it since I've been masterful at the language today, but no, our server was kind enough to write our wishes that they hand out at the end of the meal. We get to write our wishes out, and she wrote ours along with our names. And my wish, because we've been quite the piggies during this meal, I said I wish that I had a bigger stomach so I could have had more. And now I'm realizing that it makes me say I just wish I was bigger in general. I meant just for this meal only. It didn't translate well. I apologize. Erica, what did you ask for? World peace?
No, I wished for a brighter future. There it is. How cute. I love that she did that and wrote it for us. It was adorable. But yeah, a brighter future.
And Rhino, I believe you asked for world peace?
I wished for a longer life for my friend Kim.
Which is absolutely beautiful. And I also should have wished for that as well, too. I should have.
For world peace.
Yeah, well, it's Miscongeniality. It's the #1 recommended movie of
Japanese
all of
culture.
us. Yeah, Japanese culture for sure. Okay, the last thing they did, because, the restaurant's in its grand opening, oh man, I didn't realize the artwork too. Like, the artwork in this restaurant is just so beautiful. The coasters, are all so well designed and done. The bunny here is part of the mural on the front, if I remember correctly. So just really wonderful. And then this bunny in this design, it's all, if I remember correctly, she said it was part of a manga that goes back, like the oldest manga in Japanese, 200 years ago, that was part of it. So it's represented on the coasters that you can get here, which is really neat, and it's also on the back of our stamp card. So we got stamped for the summer season, and if we come back every single season to try out the food, then eventually we get our whatever we get at the end of it. I don't think they know yet. It's Denny's probably open. It's a cookie out there. So she thinks, she saw this and she's like, it's a cookie stroll automatically. I don't know about that. But we'll check in with her on that at some point. Okay, the damage at the end of the day. They did put our drinks on here. So plus the annual pass discount, we got 10% off. They added on, actually, Rhino, our drinks are only $16 each. And Erica got a $16 drink too. So that was an extra $48 when all was said and done. But our amount with the 3 drinks plus all the food we got, the 2 desserts, came out to be $281.16. So quite expensive. And then after a very generous tip, because the service was good, John is gonna let one of us go. So, because listen, I don't know how we're justifying this one. World peace? Can we use world peace? Is that an excuse? I don't know. Book a vacation, please. Please. We spent way too much of the company money. That is a good point. Right now, if you do book through Dreams Unlimited Travel, or you already booked, you could be eligible to get a Disney gift card towards your next Walt Disney World vacation. So yeah, book the vacation through Dreams Unlimited Travel today. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, leave comments, questions, video suggestions in the comments section. If you are listening to this, subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and leave us a rating and review when possible. And that's going to do it for myself, Rhino, and Erica here at the Japan Pavilion. We will see you again real soon for another Disney dining review. Take care. Bye-bye. Stay hungry.
Yummy, yummy.